Hi, my name is Sydney Eberth, and today's date is May 17th, 2020. And I am going to be talking to you about the role of the pancreas and the liver in regulating digestion. So I'll first start off by talking a little bit about the anatomy of the liver. The liver can be found in the upper right-hand portion of the abdominal cavity. It is situated below the diaphragm and above the stomach, right kidney, and the intestines. The liver is a cone-shaped organ and has a dark reddish-brown color, weighing roughly 3 pounds. The liver can hold about 13% of the body's blood supply at any given moment. There are two sources supplying blood to the liver. They are the hepatic artery, which supplies oxygenated blood, and the hepatic portal vein, which supplies nutrient-rich blood. Now over here on the right side of the screen, you can see a nice diagram of the liver and where it is situated and some important features of the liver. The liver has many functions. In fact, there have been more than 500 vital functions that have been identified with the liver. Some of the more well-known or important functions include regulating chemical levels in the blood, creating and excreting bile, metabolizing drugs, and processing nutrients. Blood that enters the liver brings nutrients and foreign substances from the digestive tract, bilirubin, created from the breakdown of hemoglobin, and metabolites from peripheral tissues. The liver produces an important substance known as bile. Bile is a non-enzymatic solution secreted from hepatocytes, also known as liver cells. Bile is composed of bile salts, cholesterol, bilirubin, electrolytes, and water. Bile helps the small intestine break down and absorb fats, cholesterol, and some vitamins. Once the bile is produced, it will travel through hepatic ducts to the gallbladder, where it will then be stored and concentrated. During a fat-heavy meal, the contraction of the gallbladder sends the bile into the duodenum through the common bile duct. From here, bile salts are reabsorbed and sent back to the liver to aid in the fat digestion, while bilirubin and other waste products are excreted in the feces since they cannot be reabsorbed. If there is too much bilirubin, that can create a problem known as jaundice, which is a yellowing of the skin and eyes. And if there are too much of any other waste products, it can be potentially toxic for the body. The liver also creates albumin, which is a blood protein that carries hormones, drugs, and fatty acids throughout the body. The liver also has an important role in controlling glucose levels. The liver can supply glucose if there is not enough, and remove glucose if there is too much. Some other liver functions include controlling immune responses, filtering the blood, vitamin and mineral storage, and synthesis of angiotensinogen. So I'll talk about the pancreas next. And I'll start off by talking a little bit about the anatomy of the pancreas. The pancreas is an elongated, tapered organ that can be found behind the stomach. There are two types of glands that make up the pancreas. These are exocrine glands that secrete digestive enzymes, and endocrine glands that secrete hormones into the bloodstream. And now over here on the right side of the screen, you can see a nice diagram of the pancreas and some important features of the pancreas. So now I'll talk about some of the pancreatic functions. The pancreas creates enzymes that help break down sugars, fats, and starches. These enzymes travel through ducts that empty out into the duodenum. Upon arrival in the duodenum, most of these enzymes are unactivated and need to be activated. The activation process begins with enteropeptidase, converting inactive trypsinogen to active trypsin. Trypsin then converts pancreatic enzymes into an active form. Some examples of pancreatic enzymes include lipase, which works with bile that is produced by the liver to help break down fats. The enzyme protease helps break down proteins, and the enzyme amylase helps break down starches into sugars, which can then be used for energy by the body. Now, these enzymes are signaled to be released by the pancreas by a number of factors, which include distension of the small intestine, the presence of food in the intestine, neural signals, and the GI hormone CCK. The exocrine glands of the pancreas also secrete bicarbonate that helps neutralize acid entering from the stomach. Bicarbonate is created through a passive process driven by electrochemical and osmotic gradients. When the negative ions move from the extracellular fluid into the lumen, it creates a negative electrical gradient, which then attracts sodium ions. Sodium then moves down the gradient through leaky junctions in between the cells. This transfer of sodium and bicarbonate from the extracellular fluid to the lumen generates an osmotic gradient, which allows water to follow the sodium through the process of osmosis. The final result is a secretion of a watery sodium bicarbonate solution. So now I will switch gears and talk briefly about the endocrine glands of the pancreas. So these glands secrete hormones that travel through the blood to carry messages to different parts of the digestive system. Insulin and glucagon are the two major hormones secreted by the pancreas. Insulin comes from beta cells, which make up 75% of pancreatic hormone cells, and glucagon comes from alpha cells, which makes up 20% of pancreatic hormone cells. Other endocrine hormones, such as gastrin and amylin, can help control the body's appetite. They can control the stimulation of stomach acids and can signal to your stomach when to empty. So that wraps up my presentation on the role of the pancreas and liver in regulating digestion, and I would like to thank you for listening.